My name is Deacon Rodrigo Mayorga Landeros, and my home parish is St. Bernard in Osceola. I'm originally from Mexico, the state of Jalisco. I grew up in a very small town, kind of a village up in the mountains called Coyutlan. And that's where I spent my childhood. And at the age of 11, I moved to the States back in 2007, here to Osceola, Iowa. I was born in Mexico, in the state of Jalisco, in a small town called Coyutlan. And I have 4 siblings. I have 3 older brothers and a younger sister. I'm the 4th one. When I was 11, back in 2007, my family and I, we decided to move to the States. My mother and an older brother passed away that year, and my dad thought it would be best if he brought us all to the States and raised us here. I was 11, and my older brothers were in their upper teenage years, so raising a couple of boys and a young girl, that was not going to be easy in Mexico. We moved to Osceola, a small town, beautiful. I started 6th grade, didn't know any English, and eventually did middle school and high school. Ever since we moved to Osceola, St. Bernard has been my home parish. We started coming to Mass here, and my dad always made sure that we came to Sunday Mass. He made sure that we got our sacraments, made sure that I was confirmed, and was always encouraging to practice our faith. In school, I got involved in a couple of things, tennis, bowling, some cross country, and I also did Taekwondo on the side growing up, which I then dropped. I would say that I received my faith life from my mother. She always made sure to teach us a catechism, how to pray. We would pray the rosary together. She would take us to Mass. Made sure that we went to catechism, and the sacrament that she always encouraged us to celebrate was the sacrament of confession. She would take us to the sacrament, but also get in line herself to kind of dispel any fears around the sacrament of confession, and just plainly and serenely go with us and teach us that it's a beautiful sacrament. When we moved to the States, it was my dad who took charge. He made sure that our life of prayer, of going to church, of catechism was lived out in our home. I would say that I first felt the call to the priesthood when I was a little kid. I was influenced a lot by the Franciscans that would come to our hometown for Holy Week. They would do their mission in our hometown, Coyutlan, and I was always impressed by them, and I was intrigued by not only what they were wearing, but also what they did and how they prayed. And when I was a kid, probably about 8, that's when the idea of becoming a priest first came along. And my mom, I told her about it. She was a seamstress, so she actually made me a couple of stoles that I could use at our house. I would celebrate Mass in my room. I remember that clearly. And I would lead even small pilgrimages around our house with my brother. I remember clearly and vividly making a wooden cross, which my brother and I would process around the house. And that's, I think, when the idea of becoming a priest first showed up. When I moved to the States, I think I saw all of these possibilities open up for me. All sorts of sports. I was good in art, and so I thought about pursuing an art degree. But around my senior year or junior year, I started becoming very restless. I had a restless heart, and really nothing was giving me this sense of plenitude, of fullness, of joy. And I think that's when the idea of priesthood kind of came back to the front of my mind with such an intensity that it really brought me back to my knees, back to prayer, back to the rosary. I remember building a relationship with Mary, this beautiful relationship where she led me to her son again and to the idea of priesthood. During my senior year, I did a couple of seminary visits, one to Conception, another one to SJV, and I always thought that these were going to be like young but boring seminarians stuck in the books and in prayer. And I would say that what really sold seminary to me was a game of dodgeball. I went to a visit to SJV back in 2014, and one of the nights that we were there, the seminarians organized a game of dodgeball. But the following morning, they had a holy hour. And that's really when I saw the balance of seminary between prayer, study, fraternity, games. Ultimately, they're young men preparing to follow the Lord, and they follow Him the best way they can by simply being young and joyful and prayerful. And that game really sold seminary to me because it made me realize what seminary was and what it was not. I entered seminary back in 2014, but my first 4 years of seminary, I did those in Mexico City. It presented a good opportunity to relearn my culture and really relearn my language as well. After being there for 4 years and having a beautiful time in Mexico City, always accompanied by Our Lady there, I came back and finished my last 4 years of seminary at the St. Paul Seminary in St. Paul. And beautiful time there of freedom, of prayer, and of relationships with not only my diocesan brothers, but also with other seminarians from this region. I'm being ordained June 24th, and not only am I looking forward to celebrate the Holy Mass, but also celebrate with a lot of compassion the sacrament that I grew up with, and the one that I realize has brought me a lot of healing, the sacrament of confession. I think that my life is filled with examples of compassion, and I would like to live out my priesthood that way, showing compassion towards others because I've been shown compassion as well. And I believe the best way to do that is through the sacraments of the Church, specifically the sacrament of confession, in which our Lord forgives us and shows us His own compassion towards us.